Well, hello. We just got in here. I was sitting on the couch and it finished my supper. We were rushed around today. And my thing is getting an echo here somewhere. Let me see if I can correct this. Y'all bear with me just a minute. And I've frozen too on the screen. Hold on. Got a problem here with my microphone for whatever reason. Okay, what's the problem here? Okay.
Try it now.
Is it better now?
Try it now.
Yeah, it's a little better now. I think.
I have earbuds in.
Okay. I think this is better now. If I can. Today, I tell you, I've had a real bad problem with my shaking today. I'm frozen. My screen's frozen.
I'm frozen too.
Now, I don't know what the problem is. You're not frozen on my screen, but I'm frozen on my screen.
I'm totally frozen.
Can y'all see what's going on here? And tell us if I'm frozen or not. It may just be on my end that I'm frozen. There, I'm back now.
I'm not.
Yeah, you are on mine. You're unfrozen. You're
no,
not.
I mean, my screen, I can't read any of this, nothing.
You can't read anything?
No, everything's. I'm going to turn it off and turn it back on.
No, hold on a minute. Hey, Dakota? Dakota, can you see if you can fix Mama's screen real quick?
It can't. Never mind. Never mind.
Okay, well. I don't know what the big deal is with the screen. I see her fine, and her mic's cut off, though. Let me cut her mic on.
I turned them off.
Okay, now unmute you. Are you muted there? I'm trying to unmute your mic. No. I'm trying to on your screen. Are you unmuted on your screen?
Not on. The little Apple thing is just now coming up.
Okay.
So I don't know how they can see me.
That's the problem. Okay, they may not can. I just turned her off the screen. She's having to reload her picture, and we'll get it back here in just a few minutes.
The devil's
The devil
did it.
We're going to cover a few cases tonight. We're going to re-examine a little bit of that case last night. And also, I had a couple people still are trying to understand who I am and what I did with my career. And so she's frozen now. Okay. To basically tell who I am and what how Dina comes in this play. First, my name is Thomas. I am a retired law enforcement officer. I had 33 years of service in law enforcement with basically 3 departments. And I actually volunteered for a couple other smaller departments. When I took a break from law enforcement I took a 3-year break at one time. I started out and working just in patrol, working cases, anything I came up on, from domestics to assaults to traffic tickets to fights to drunks to everything. And I was often the first officer on the scene of more serious crimes like robbery, even homicide, shooting, stabbings. And I have had a good bit of experience. And when I got hired in a very large department, it was a metro city, somewhere around 350 officers at the time. I worked patrol in 2 different sectors, and the last sector was primarily all minorities area. It was high crime area. To answer 15 to 20 calls a night by myself. Have a backup units, but I would get dispatched as primary unit to own as many as 15 to 20 calls a night. We were very busy, and that's the way I liked it. From there, I went to internal affairs for a short period of time to help investigate applicants. I had a broken wrist at the time, And from there, I went to narcotics, and later on, it was established as an organized crime bureau, which was narcotics, vice, and anything else. Basically, they wanted us to work all types of counterfeiting cases, human trafficking cases, prostitution, working clubs, vice-related crimes, smuggling crimes, and drug cases. Worked undercover narcotics for about 3 years, grew my hair out and bought drugs. And we were in such a large town that I could answer a call on one side of town. 6 months later, I could answer a call on the other side of town and buy drugs from him, or I could be involved in a search warrant on one side of town, and then just 2 or 3 neighborhoods over, I could be buying drugs. And from there, I left and went into private business for about 2 years. And then after that, I went to a smaller town of about 50 total personnel, where I worked patrol for about 6 years, and then went to law school. After I got out of law school, I went back wanted to go back into police work. I missed it. I did not take the bar, and I went into police work again and was transferred to narcotics. And then within about 2 years, I was made in charge of the unit. And I worked narcotics and also ran a cyber crimes unit, which we did the child predator cases online. In fact, we worked at that time the largest case in the Southeast at that time for child predators. So a part of that was working 2 missing person cases at times. I worked a pretty large missing person case, one of the biggest ones I've ever done. The guy disappeared, and we really thought he had a complete mental breakdown. And still to this day, I believe he did. He went out and burned through about $100,000 of his family's money. And before he ended up running off the road and dying in a car accident. And that happened about a month or so after he went missing. Thanks, AK. I really appreciate that. We appreciate that, AK. Appreciate that. I really do. Thank you for your service too. I understand. I believe you're military, past military. I can't say enough about that. Medina's family is all military. Every one of her brothers had served at some point in their career. Just about every one of them had served in the military. Just up until last year, her last of her family had served in the military. Thank you very much. What we want to talk about tonight, and do you have any questions about my career and why that? Now, I'll be honest with you, I am not as experienced as some people are. I don't know about Duty Ron and what his experience is. I understand he worked in New York, and that's a whole big town. But I'm going to tell you about big cities and little cities, small cities. You can actually do as much and handle as much crime as you do in a large city, a small city, as you do in a large city. But I'm not taking away from Duty Ron. He did a great deal of working stuff up there in New York City, and I'm not taking anything away from him. He probably did more so and handled bigger crimes and bigger stuff than I did. Profiling evil, I don't know these 2 guys. I know they did work homicide before. I worked homicide too in a very large department, and cases involving murder, involving drugs. I was putting homicide first to help us solve a case where the guy was an executive in a big time corporation in town, was found murdered in his house. Drugs was involved, so I had to go over and help out. I don't know much about those guys. I know that the new program I think Chris is doing, called the Interview Room, that's going to be very good, especially if he's able to get Barry to talk to him. Barry Morphew, I don't know that he will, but there was a little phone call where he answered, Barry answered. I hope he does. That'd be a pretty awesome, big deal if he does. I haven't heard, nobody said yay or nay if that's the truth. There's some I watched the Draper brothers, Dusty Draper, one of his last videos where he put out a thing on his report where he put out something about profiling evil and how uh, some things were done. And if I'm going to be honest with you, if that was done by profiling evil, some of the things that were done, shame on them. That's what I say. Uh, I'm going to tell you, uh, Dusty has been through a lot in his life. He's changed, and I'm going to give you right now how I feel about Dusty and his whole. He said he went to prison over a situation with a child. It's not abuse. It's some type of abuse thing, but it was not a sexual type thing. It was something he was on drugs bad. But Dusty is the epitome of somebody that has changed his life. And I think that we ought to support him. And our channel supports what the Draper brothers are doing. And just because you do something while you were on narcotics and it ends up you go to prison for it and you paid your debt to society and you're in counseling and you've already changed your life totally, um, I believe you ought to give a guy a break. And he has some people coming back on these channels and saying some pretty harsh things about his past and trying to get the Draper Brothers channel hurting the channel. But I'm going to tell you something. God forgives, and who am I to judge? I'm not going to judge him. All the thing is I can judge somebody on their fruits, and his fruit is good. What I can see, I mean, I don't know him personally, but his fruit is good. And he's went to prison for a while, paid debt to society, and I believe honestly, drugs was his problem. I think drugs caused him to act this way. And since he's been off drugs, he's confessed his sins, he's made peace with God. And I'm not going to judge him, but I am going to support him in his endeavor. And if it might hurt my channel just to say that, it might hurt the channel to say that we support Dusty and Tyson, but I'm sorry, but I'm going to do it because I believe everybody needs a second chance. And yeah, he has redeemed himself. That's right, Mal. He has redeemed himself. 15 years since he's been out of jail. I have a personal friend that was in jail and 14 years for narcotics, and he has totally turned his life around, totally, and absolutely has done so much good for the community and society. And that's what Dusty's doing here. So a lot of people have abandoned him. Other channels have abandoned him. They've talked behind his back, and I'm just not going to do that. I'm just not going to do it. I don't want to say what PE Profile on Evil did or didn't do because I wasn't the one that reported it. Go over and watch Dusty's last report, the 231 report, and he addresses that on what he did. And it really made me kind of angry that people that don't give other people a chance when they're trying to change their life, and they have changed their life. You don't give him a chance. I give him a chance. I served as much law enforcement or more than those guys did, and I hope that is not true what he said. I hope it's not true. I hope that somebody misinformed him. But if they did that, shame on them. That's what I say. All right, my little vent is over. I've got something drawing my power here. We are here. I'm sorry, I had to plug it in. It was showing my battery is about to go dead.
No.
Okay. Am I back with you? I had no battery.
You keep unplugging it.
Okay. For some reason or another, my power went completely off.
See, this isn't working.
Are y'all back with me? Here he is. Okay, I'm back with you. I don't know. For some reason, I lost power completely. But what I was going to say, I thought maybe something happened on the internet. I'm not here to bash anybody's channel. I'm not going to do that. All I'm saying is, as other creators out here, it's hard enough with the trolls and everybody sending messages trying to get your channel, people to bash your channel or talk bad about your channel. Go over to Draper's channel, Dusty's channel, and get and let watch that video, because it's worth watching. Because we support him, and I'm not going to say one way or the other. Now, are y'all back with me? Am I back with you? Somebody said I'm frozen. I hope I'm not frozen. I don't mean to be frozen. It is cold in here, but I'm not frozen. Before I talk about my first missing case tonight, I want to see if I'm unfrozen now. Am I unfrozen? If somebody could tell me.
Yep.
I am unfrozen.
Hold your hands up. Not
You're not frozen. Okay, I'm not frozen. All right.
Minus arriba.
Huh?
Minus arriba.
Minus arriba.
Whatever.
Now I'm frozen again.
Yeah.
Gosh, I hate that.
No, you're not frozen. You are fine. Keep talking.
All right. We're going to talk about a girl that landed in the airport out here in Denver airport, another one in Colorado that disappeared. And a little bit, I'll show you a picture and everything in a minute, but this is a little thing. It says Whitney Lulloff, 16, reported missing, vanishing from the Denver International Airport. Whitney spent a Christmas break in Arizona with her father. She expected to fly back unaccompanied back home, in Colorado via American Airlines. Her stepfather, Brian Cupp, was waiting there to pick her up. According to Whitney's father, she usually texts when she lands, and this time, however, no text. She did arrive and did get off the plane. That's what we understand. Thank you. This is the missing thing for her. They say she did get off the plane. However, I read one post that possibility she did not want to go home to her mother. And the stepfather was supposed to pick her up. But if this is a regular occurrence, I don't know. Maybe somebody is watching this that lives in Denver that could provide us with some more information. This is some of her pictures also. She doesn't look 16 to me. She looks older, but if she's got some problems with her mother, she probably needs to address that with her mother instead of, me. It could be a runaway. I don't know. We're not sure. Colorado, man, I tell you what. Yeah, I think Orrin says Colorado is an evil spiritual stronghold. Well, something's going on up there. I mean, you got Susan Morphew, you got the girl that went hiking and found dead, and then you got a lot of other missing hikers. I hope we learn things. I mean, I know hikers can be independent. People that hike all the time are very independent, spiritual. I mean, they know their craft, they buy the right equipment. But please, even men and women, I would not hike alone, or at least get you some type of GPS thing on you that just like monitors your location all the time, or would allow you to push it if you got hurt and signal to somewhere that you're in distress. It just seems like Colorado is a bad place. And I love Colorado. I love the state. everything about it. I always wanted to move there. My cousins live there. I got 2 cousins that live in Denver. I've always wanted to live in Colorado. That just the pictures and the mountains and just everything, it just looks great. But when you have all of that kind of stuff, then you can have a lot of stuff. If somebody say they were in Colorado, she could have had problems with her stepfather. Somebody's brought that up. I did read something, like I said, about her mother. She was not thrilled about coming back home to her mother. She'd rather stay with her birth father, her natural father. But usually, she would let somebody know. You don't know what I mean? Disappearing from the middle of the airport like that, it's not good. I hope she does call somebody. I don't want another thing to end like that girl did. Is anybody heard anything else about that? Oh, I did want to say one thing. Y'all need to pray for Melinda's mother. I talked to Melinda a little bit on the internet, and then we spoke to her the other night on the phone. Her mother is not in good shape with this COVID. It's still hanging around. And we want to pray also, if y'all would continue to pray for our cousin. He is back in the hospital with clots in his lungs, his oxygen levels down, and COVID, and he's in his 70s. So he's fairly healthy, but he does have some past health issues. So if you could say a prayer for him, that it's actually Dina's cousin. But it just seems like this COVID thing is never going away. And also, and I'll say this right now, pray for our country. Our country's in turmoil right now, for sure. Cop Fax is a retired cop. Thank you, Judy. I can't read tonight. Thank you, Julie. We appreciate it. For sure. We really do appreciate it.
She said, I've seen the video on the underground part of the airport in Colorado.
Yeah, I have.
It's creepy. It is creepy.
I have seen that video also. Thank you again, Julie. That's really nice of you. I've seen that video, and also I've seen about the mural they had there that was really creepy too.
Stop. Get down.
Our dogs are like all in Medina's lap right now. I don't know what every time it's like this room, it's like a magnet in this room. When we get on live, they all want to come in here and get up in all our business and bring us a ball, drop their ball there. And then we go back in the living room, they hop up there in front of the fireplace. They're all right. We do want to put out the word for her, though, if anybody knows anything about that girl missing in the airport, that if anybody knows her, is a friend of hers, or lives in Colorado, that that they should have her call home if she's a runaway. If not, and you know of any other thing, maybe you shot some cell phone video at the airport the day she disappeared, and maybe you can look at that cell phone video. Maybe if you see anything suspicious. Last seen at the airport on January the 4th. So you could look at that. Let me see, around 12:40. So if you were landing at the airport in Denver around 12:40 on January the 4th, then you could help look for her, or maybe look at your video. I got somebody that's going to come on with me just when I start to talk about this. Hey, Tony, how are you?
Hey, how are you, brother?
I'm doing great, man. I had a little video trouble a few minutes ago where I lost complete blackout and then came back on and everything. So I hope everybody will welcome Tony. I have not even got into what we're mainly going to talk about yet. I will bring it up, and maybe we can talk about what we think about it. First off, I was talking about the girl in the airport, came into Denver airport and has disappeared. Mainly, had usually text her parents and said, "Hey, I'm landing." Her stepfather, but they know from video and airport authority that she did land and she did get off the plane into the airport. But after that, they don't know what happened to her. Some people say she might have ran away because she doesn't like her or didn't get along with her her mother, but who knows? Right now, it's just a missing person. We want to talk about these two kids from yesterday.
I'm going to let you and Anthony handle it because I can't fix
Okay.
my computer.
Is this right here? This are the missing boys. California City has just upped the $25,000 reward for anybody with information that leads to the conviction or arrest and the case that leads to the location of the missing boys. Now, we talked about this last Wednesday night where these, and I don't know if you are familiar with this case, Tony. Have you read anything about it?
When you called me earlier today, I just looked at an article right before I came on, and I saw where they had been missing for about a month, and that it was an issue involving the biological mother had stated that she felt something was odd about the case, of course, but that the parents that were the caretakers of the children were supposed to actually be foster parents, not their biological parents. And then I saw that they're missing, and I saw something about they were writing with chalk outside. I'm assuming maybe on a sidewalk or something, and then the parents left them out there, or a parent left them out there to write on chalk, and then they left, or they left the children out there outside or something, and then came back and they were gone. And it was late in the evening, and then I noticed something about they said it was cold that evening or something like that. So
what the information that I read again today was this. Basically, it was about 3 weeks ago. These were adopted parents, not foster parents. They had they were foster parents at first. They had 6 kids total. The neighbors said they never had seen those 2 kids at the house. Neighbors said they never even saw them. There is a video. I want y'all to go back. I'll try to put it in the the comments. It's from AV.WATCHMEN. United We Stand. AV.WATCHMEN. United We Stand. He discovered he was out there and investigating this. He's a YouTuber. He noticed a camera in the window while walking across a vacant field where the house was. Noticed a camera in the window of one of the neighbor's house. So went in there, and they have got video. You just have to go watch it. I'll explain a little bit of it, but y'all go watch it. The video shows him on the night he called the police, then said the boys were missing. He went out, didn't look in anything in the front yard, got in his van and drove around the neighborhood for 4 minutes, came back and went in the house. Now, everybody, when your kids are missing, you're going to handle it different. At least I would. If I don't know in this situation. The police.
There was something also about a gate left open or something. So I'm assuming that the yard might have been fenced in.
He said he was getting wood to start a fire in the fireplace, and the kids were out back using chalk on the. You know how kids write on chalk on the concrete, right? And he said when he turned around, they escaped out of the yard. But the police say the police are saying we don't know how they got out of the yard. And the police are saying also they do suspect foul play. But you just have to go over and watch that video. I'll try to put the link for his channel in my narrative, and you can go over and see. It's interesting video. It is. And you can make your own assessment of it. I really don't know what to say about it because I just don't think, the house was located and there was two big desert
How
fields.
long is the video?
It's I want to say it's about 10 minutes, maybe. I don't know, because there's a lot of talking in it. Stop.
Can you have the ability to bring the video up where everybody can view it and we can view it in real time on the channel?
No, because it's his channel, and I don't want to do that. I don't want to copyright. I mean, I'm sure if he's not copyrighted, I don't think that he would appreciate me doing that. What we may want to try to get him up here too and play the video. But if everybody would just go over there, I'll put it in the description. But it's not, it's not great video. I mean, you can't see it clearly. There's about 100 yards of desert between his house and the other house, but you can see him leaving and coming back. I'll be honest with you, I got a new theory on this. I don't think the kids ever lived in the house. I don't think, or either if they lived in the house, it was a very short period of time. I heard a rumor that there's some people saying that the kids might have been sold. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, or it would be, I have a tough time. This is what I got a tough time with. Okay. I have a tough time with two adopted parents that adopted these kids, not used foster kids, but adopted them, and killed both of them at the same time. I have a problem with that. I could see maybe one of them had an accident and died and they, freaked out about it, or maybe getting mad. Maybe one of them got mad and killed one of them. But both of them.
Is the law enforcement there? Have you seen an article where the law enforcement said that they're looking at them as suspects or what?
They're not calling them suspects. They're saying they're not ruling anyone out.
Okay.
Here I am telling her. She said, "Let Anthony talk." I said, "I have been. I thought." She's correcting me here. Let me show you a picture of what they did to the backyard.
I'm reverent. I know I let my elders speak first.
This is their backyard when the FBI and the local police department dug it up by the house they live in.
That's the fenced area and all that they're talking about?
Well, they dug up the backyard and they didn't find anything.
Okay. So that's the backyard. That's not the yard that the man said they were in, or was that the yard that they were supposed to be playing in?
That's the backyard that they're supposed to be playing in. I'll go back to it there. Yeah, that's the backyard they were supposed to be playing in.
All right. And do we know what the exit door over there that is, I guess, going out that gate on that side? Where does it go to?
That is a good question. I think it goes back to a field. See, I'm not sure if that house is facing north. You know what I'm saying? We're not sure how. It looks like it goes to that big desert field. There's a desert field on both sides of the house.
Right. I would have thought, one thing that I would have to say from this, just looking at it, with a confined area like that, and if the boys were playing in a particular area back there, drawing with chalk or whatever, any tracking canine, and you know this, Tom, any tracking canine would have been able to pick up scent on that and then be able to follow the boys. And it would have at least led them out to, if it's that field or whatever, they would have had some sort of trace. And then if they would have been abducted, it would probably lead them to the edge of a road or a driveway where a vehicle could have been parked, or something like that. So that would at least give a little bit more clue to the investigators. Well,
according to the police, the dogs could not get a track on the outside of the house. They could smell scent on the inside, which could have been on the furniture for all that matter, but they could not get a scent on the outside at all.
So the scent stayed confined within the backyard.
Not even in the backyard.
Oh, they didn't hit at all where the kids were playing? Okay. Well, then that right there would, my mind would go somewhere else.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to pull up these pictures from
In
yesterday.
other words, anytime you do an investigation, you're going to take, and we've discussed this before, you're going to take what the person says, and then from there you have to move forward to determine what is factual, what is provable, what is maybe non-factual, or something that seems pretty squirrely or kind of off the wall too. And then you go from there to put the pieces of the puzzle together.
Yeah, I can't pull up the pictures because I'd already put them away, but the picture of the house, well, I could, if you want to talk for a few minutes and explain something about how I'll try to go back over here and pull up the pictures of the house that I have, and it's going to show you actually the where the house was located. Lori, I think I'm having a tough time reading these side notes because I don't get them as big as Dina does. But let's see. Somebody asked, no neighbors have heard the children. Yeah. Well, they had 6 children total, and they've seen 4 children. And
right, I scrolled back up. I see where Lori wrote, okay, no scent in the yard, no bodies in the ground. How do we find the missing children? Well, there's a lot of complex things that you put into play to try to find the children.
All right, go ahead and talk there, and I'm going to move around here and try to get those pictures for us.
Okay. Well, any investigator that would go into a call such as that, once they do the dog scenario, and they're obviously you can see that they've dug up the ground. I would kind of be curious to wonder what led them to that ground area to dig in a particular place, to define soft ground there that looked like it had been fresh buried or something of that nature. Also, do the dogs, or do they have a cadaver dog to have a scent to hit in that area or something like that? There's a lot of unknown variables that I'd have to look in this case more to see what maybe was done, what wasn't done. And then I'd have to look at some more facts and stuff to kind of, play into, because anybody can be Monday morning quarterback, but there is if you will, there's always an outline of certain things that we as investigators go in and we have like a check off, if you will. And then we go through those modes of checking off what we need to find or what we need to discover, what facts or evidence is pertaining to the case that we need to look into. So that's why looking at the picture that you just showed, that's just what I'm basing that on.
Okay, I found the picture. Let me pull it up here and let you get an idea. The house in the middle is the house that he was missing from. You see these big fields out to the side.
Both sides of it, yeah.
Yeah.
And they had one gate, it looks like, for the backyard, which was that gate. I'm assuming is that some sort of patio or concrete walk or something, maybe?
Yeah, and a big thing about this is on this video that you'll go over, if they'll go over and watch this video, these fields, the father never went even out into these fields. I would have checked those first, especially at night.
Yeah, and most kids, if it was getting dusky and at night, depending on their ages, it just depends on the age. Sometimes a toddler will wander more than a 4-year-old or a 5-year-old. 4 or 5-year-olds tend to, unless they're in the exploring mode, they tend to like to stay close to their environment. But which is funny how, if you remember, I brought that up that day that we were talking about a case, and we had a little boy that was one of the cases right before I retired that we had the little boy under the house, and he was hiding, and he knew all the people were there hollering for him, but he remained quiet, and he was more worried that he was going to get a spanking from his parents. So he realized he had done a boo-boo. He thought it was fun to play hide and seek, but then when all the people were there, it was a different story. And so again, we look at those kinds of things to see what would draw a child to leave the area if they're occupied in, quote, the story that was given, than the occupied of what they were doing. My question would be, do I see chalk still laying there? I mean, there's a lot of things that I'd like to be looking more into that case to see what's going on. When you pull up and they said, yeah, they was out there playing with chalk, and then you go out there, there's no chalk. So you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, one thing is, why are not the other kids out there? For one, there's 4 other kids. This picture I'm putting up here, you can see their road is kind of in the very center of this picture. It's called Aspen, if you could see it. But you see what kind of city this is. There's desert all around this area. I mean, it's 110 miles to Los Angeles, and between that city and Los Angeles, they said is almost completely desert. So
yeah, those little boys, if they would have, quote, wandered off, and they would have really wandered off without abduction being a variable in it, then you would have thought that there would definitely be some sort of tangible scent, smell, evidence, someone had seen something.
They had found today that I listened to another report where searchers from, not law enforcement now, but searchers in the area formed a search party, and they basically lined up down the road, and they did a grid search of just walking out through there, and they found 2 or 3 items that one had the name of one of the childs on them, like a piece of clothing with a name on it. So
where was this clothing at now?
It was like it was a good ways from the house. It was in a desert area, a good ways from the house. So, but the people searching said, why didn't the dogs pick up on this? Why didn't they lead them there? And what they say is, somebody said that might have been planted there, as to lead law enforcement to think they wandered off.
Yeah, that's I mean, you and I both know there's times that people have planted things for us to find just to try to make us think something different.
Yeah. If you're going to ask a question, if you could put it in capital letters, because I'm having a difficult time reading them. But let me say this, and I'm going to get Tony's opinion on this too. I've heard law enforcement say we are going to have to start looking away from the house as maybe a mile from the house, or maybe more, with drones, with helicopters, with heat-seeking stuff, for possibility that they could have walked off. It's hard to believe it's been 3 weeks, that they would not have been found by all these searchers. They've had searches out there, people, and I think I even saw a horseback. Now, go ahead, Tony.
Oh, I was just looking. Somebody wrote back. I wanted to catch that. It says, at Jackie M, my son is autistic and he took off a few times. We have things that I'm sure that most people that are on here are aware. We have things like Project Lifesaver and stuff that for not only autistic children, but as well as people with dementia or Alzheimer's. We usually have, and each of those parents, the sheriff's departments in various counties do it for free. They'll come out and put a band on the child or a patient that's a dementia or Alzheimer's patient, and they will, if they do walk out of a home or something, we have means to be able to track them and find them rather quickly. But yes, she is right about autistic children. Autistic children might not have the same mental capacities as another child, and therefore their sense of, like an example we were talking about a while ago, when a child's occupied doing something versus an autistic child might not necessarily have the same capacity to have a draw to do something like chalk drawings or whatever. So that's, but again, that's on a case by case basis. Then we look at those kind of cases in a different light as well, for sure, versus abduction / missing / medical situation. So again, that's where we would go with those.
Yeah, and another thing about this case, and this too, and I appreciate that information, Tony. There's a lot of good information you shared. Is that a lot of people say that there weren't any bikes, there wasn't any toys for these kids. That there's a lot of evidence that these kids never lived at the house. That they lived in a couple of houses in Bakersfield, California, originally, and moved there. So there's a possibility that they were killed or something happened to them in Bakersfield. That's what I think happened, is that it never went here. I don't even think they ever made it. And here's the thing, the rest of the kids have been taken out of the house for protective custody, and the parents they've been before the news one time, and the man was way too cool. He was way too cool. And the woman was, she appeared nervous and scared the whole time. But I really believe that it was orchestrated event. That's just my opinion. I believe that whatever happened back in Bakersfield, and they waited a good length of time since they've been in this house, and then he said, boom, they disappeared. He's not worried about them being found here because he knows they're not in the area.
Right. Well, something that is an unfortunate thing in that we deal with in foster care scenarios, but there has been, people who can read, people know that this has happened in the past. Some foster care scenarios have actually been that the parents were making money off taking care of the kids and things like that. Now, that is not saying that a foster parent is not good people, or that there are not good foster parents out there in the world, because they are, especially for the ones that open their homes up to allow these children to try to have normalcy in their home and then in their own lives. So I don't want anybody to get, sidetracked or off the train track, as they say, by thinking that all foster parents are like that. However, that is another thing that we would look at in the case. How much of a history, like you've had things before in the past where foster parents, I can't remember the case just off the top of my head, but I know it was something that we studied in an investigation class that I had about foster parents that had several children to die in their care. And
I remember
that particular case that we dissected, not to get off into it too terribly much, but just simply to say it raised the issue of understanding a red flag in an investigation. If this has happened before, what's the history there? What's the past history? Has there been complaints? Has there been things going on? Have the children been in school? And I know these kids are very young, I think 3 and 4. So were they ever put in any type of church facility where they were being cared for, or were they always kept at home? Because some people have daycare and then they go to work. So it kind of shows more of, well, are they even investing money in to take care of the kids while they go to work? All that kind of stuff. I mean, it's a what if variable. And then you go into, well, what's the care for the kids? And then you'd probably go and interview those teachers and say, well, do the kids come, are they sick a lot? Or Do the kids come clothed? Do they look like they're bathed? Do they, all those kinds of things that plays into what if.
Yeah, and well, these kids are adopted, so they won't have. At least they don't. And if we talked about this last night, foster parents get money for their kids.
Correct.
Adopted parents
pay.
do not. Yes, they do pay.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. That's the difference. A foster care scenario, they get an allocated amount of money from the government to take care of them. A foster parent that decides that they, whether they can't have children on their own or something, whatever is the situation that they decide to adopt, they're going to pay the state or an adoption agency to actually have those children. So for a lack of term, they do have an investment in wanting to take care of those children. Not saying that foster parents are not wanting to take care of their children. Again, I can't stress that enough to say, because there are really some good foster parent situations throughout the country, that there's some good people out there that really care for children.
Sarah, Love Shack Sarah said, yes, in California, they do pay adopted parents when they adopt the kids out of foster care. And that is exactly what happened with this case. They were adopted out of foster care.
Oh, okay.
So they made money adopting the kids. Wow. Well, I don't know. My problem is, and like I said, let's look at the things that has been reported where they're living now. Troubling things. One, the video that if you go back, and like I said, I'll put the link in the description. The video shows only 4 kids going. They were all loading up a bus to go somewhere. They had a big white van. Only 4 kids got into the van. Now, this was prior to them be reported missing. 4 kids, 2 biological kids, and 2 siblings of the missing kids. That's really very troubling. Okay. Where are the other 2 kids?
And this was a video that was taken from where?
The neighbor's house. The neighbor, if we look at this picture,
let me clarify this so I'll understand. This was a video from the house where the kids actually even came up missing.
This is the house. If we're looking at from the map, the picture,
yeah,
it would be on your left. See the brown dark roof?
Yes.
That's where that house that had the camera.
Okay.
So
how long had they lived at this house?
I'm not 100% sure. I had it yesterday. I had the information. I want to say, I think if somebody could tell me, I think it's a year or a few months. Does somebody know that? How long they lived at this house? Yeah, that Plunder also references that video. If somebody could tell me how long, huh? Okay, since September, they lived at that house. Okay, thank you. Thank you for telling us that. September 30th. So they haven't been there that long. What I'm thinking of, since September, no neighbor, every neighbor they questioned, the police questioned, I don't know, but what we've got reported on the internet is every neighbor has said they had not seen those 2 kids at the house at all. Not one.
But they all have seen the other kids.
That they've seen the other kids, but not those 2.
Well, then what they would have probably wanted to try to have done is if they could have went back and did some more questioning of those adoptive parents in places they've been over the last several months. I would have gone and got a subpoena for credit cards and checks and stuff, and then I would have tried to circulate back to grocery stores or gas stations, places they had been, and then I would try to go about getting that video footage and seeing if they were with him or not. And I'm going to go back and question them. Were they with him or not? That kind of thing. And then just, I mean, that's the only way you can kind of put pieces of the puzzle together to see when's the last scenario that they were actually seen.
Yeah, somebody said, well, first off, somebody asked what LE stands for. It's law enforcement. So brother vice, they supposedly too, I don't know what the deal is, but there's some issue, and I've heard this talked about a lot. The brother to the to the adopted father here, let's call him the adopted father, because I have adopted kids and I consider him to be their father, is vice president of the NAACP. I don't know why it shouldn't even be brought up, but that is. But some people believe that he has taken those kids and put them in hiding. Why? I mean, what would be the I don't even think that should even be considered, because
why would they, just because he's the vice president of NAACP, why would he need to hide them?
Yeah, that's kind of, I don't even know what the benefit, show me the benefit, I'll look at it a little bit harder, but I don't, I don't consider it to be a benefit. Another thing is that the two things that we talked about, first, somebody said also there was no toys, no bikes, nothing that belonged to those two kids in the house. It'd be hard to tell though if you have 4 kids in the house, 4. They were all various ages, but I don't know.
Love Shack Sarah says if the kids are being abused or trafficked, and he's part of it, then it would. Well, absolutely. Anybody that is trafficking the children, but we're not going to point a finger that just because he's the vice president of the NAACP, that the NAACP is an organization for trafficking children. We're not saying that. So that's what we were discussing. If just because somebody's a vice president of whatever, now if they were vice president of a organization that had already been investigated, or there were ongoing investigation that there was either sex trafficking or trafficking children or whatever, then that'd be different. But again, we're not saying that.
No, the NAACP is a national association for the advancement of colored people,
right?
And they're not associated with anything like that. I believe though the kids, whatever happened to the kids happened in Bakersfield. They've, it's just like my assumption of the morphine.
She says now a guy threatened the woman, or a woman, and told her he could make her disappear. That'd be able to have to prove whatever. I mean, anybody can allegate something, and then it'd have to be proven in court of law. And I understand where you're coming from, Love Shack, Sarah, but for anything to be tangible, such as search warrants have to contain affidavits. Affidavits have to be sworn to. When you swear to something, it has to be factual.
Yeah, if somebody threatened somebody and said, "Hey, I can make you disappear," what they should have done is got a warrant for their arrest right there. For in Alabama, that'd be harassment or something like that. Or it depends on how bad too. They said it. But one thing too, somebody said they had a texting fight.
Yes, I get that. I'm telling you what was shown. Now, if true, we need to ask why. Yeah, if there is evidence that he said that, then what's the motive of him saying that? And I see what you're saying on that. So yes, we would, or a investigator that's involved in this case, a investigator would take all that into putting it, as they say, in the barrel to fill up the facts to try to find out what because everything when we do an investigation, everything we try to look at is motives. What is the motive behind what's going on?
Yeah, and another thing too is, I've heard a lot of people ask, well, have they interviewed the children? I'm sure that they've used a child psychologist and they've interviewed each one of the children separately and got their statements. Also, I did watch the press release from the chief of police. Yeah, somebody's asked me if I watched it. Yes, I did. I did watch the chief saying, and he's kind of, be honest with you, he was kind of clueless on a lot of stuff that even the press knew. He said, "No, I haven't heard that. No, I haven't heard that." But I think that I hope that he would not comment on whether or not they polygraphed these people. I hope they do polygraph them if they refuse to take a polygraph. And I know polygraphs are not admissible, and we discussed this 100 times, but it always does eliminate you as being a suspect and get them to concentrate on looking for the people otherwise. And if he just volunteers and said, "Yeah, I'll take one," it could clear him up, And somebody asked, when were the kids vaccinated and seen by a doctor? I understand that they weren't. That's what I understand, that they had not been seen by a doctor. There's a lot of red flags that come into this play. The kids were taken away from her at birth, is what I understand, because the mother was a drug addict. That's what I read anyway. It may not be the exact how it happened.
Are they still living at this house?
Do what?
Are they still living at this house?
No. The police took all of the kids into protective custody.
Right. I'm talking about the parents are.
I don't know, because a lot
house occupied or abandoned.
They've done a couple of search warrants at the house. That's another thing. They took a second bite of the apple, and you know how hard it is to get a second search warrant. I understand that there's been a lot of vandalism to the house because the neighbors are real suspicious of them. So I don't know if they're still living there or not. Parents moved to protective custody also, somebody said. Well, that's interesting. That's interesting.
Why would the parents need to be put in protective custody?
Well, I think because the neighbors, they've only been here since September, and the neighbors are like hostile towards them. They believe they're guilty,
Oh, okay. Well, still, normally the police wouldn't put them in, quote, protective custody.
In a motel, they said.
Parents said in their interview that all of their tech devices were confiscated by police.
Thank you very much, too, for that. We appreciate it, Helen girl.
If that we've talked about this before, that right there would be just like what I was talking about a while ago. You start backtracking from day one, and you start putting the pieces of the puzzle together, and then that's how you go try to solve the case.
Yeah, somebody said, let me see, Lori said, it's been 18 days. What do you think the investigators are doing now? Well, they dug out the backyard of that house and did not find anything. I think they'll start concentrating on these people, where they lived in Burke. Where did I say it was? In other city in California. I can't think. My mind went blank there. But they'll start going to each one of these houses, and they'll try to see if they can get a search warrant on the houses, and they'll run something around the yard and find out if they've had any type of something buried there. They'll use cadaver dogs.
Love Shack Sarah just put on there, parents of missing kids don't lose the kids' protective custody unless they're suspects.
Well, I think, yeah. And one thing about the one child that was missing,
no one will take, well, it just is what it is. No one should be able to take kids from their parents or their adoptive parents unless there is something that seems afoot. And then even after that, they're supposed to have a judicial hearing to determine whether or not that seizure of the children is actually legal or substanding to the cause.
Yeah, and another thing too, they said that a lot of the reason why they took them in, one thing is with the children, the two children that are missing, one of them had a fractured leg at the time it went missing. If that child had been injured, and they're not saying
the child had a fractured leg or a hurt leg or a leg that was actually in a cast.
Didn't mention the cast, but they said fractured leg. So I don't know.
If there is a fracture, then they're going to be in some sort of splint, cast, something like that. If the bone is broken too, it's broken too. Now, if it's you can have a stress fracture, and they might not necessarily cast you, but it depends on with children. Certain bones that might have a fracture, they treat them different because of the growth plate on it.
Okay, they said Shelby said, I think it was Shelby. Shelby GC said previously fractured.
Okay,
so I got a previously fractured wrist. This one, and
right.
This one hurts worse than this one. It probably wouldn't hurt. Thank you, Jackie. Appreciate the super sticker.
Now, is that fracture that you had, was that for when you was walking with your cane or what?
This was actually done when I was working at a large police department in North Alabama, but I heard it off duty, believe it or not. Broke it, fractured it in two places, trying to act like an idiot riding a skateboard. Believe it or not, I was on a skateboard and did it. I went 10 feet. First time I ever tried a skateboard, and the last time.
Was that the you remember the yellow banana skateboard? Was that what it was? Was it the yellow banana skateboard that you did that on?
Yeah, I'm not no comment on all this. Leg was fractured when he was with his biological mom. That was why he was removed. Well, if that's true, then what I understand was that what I read was that these kids were there. Let there be light. When these kids were taken at birth, so maybe my information was wrong.
Yeah, my daughter decided to come in here, and I guess she wanted to see my hair shine or something. I don't know.
There you go, that white hair. Ooh, it's bright. It's bright.
I could get you some sunglasses.
I don't know. I'll have to go back and study that and see if they were taken at birth or not. That's what I had read.
Right.
I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, here's the thing too. Another real.
Hey, look behind me, Mike.
Yeah, the clock's got batteries.
The clock's got batteries, everybody.
Well, that's good. One troubling thing too to me is big troubling to me is if my kids adopted otherwise had ran out and I thought they might be outside, the first thing I would do rather than jump in the van and ride around, I would get a flashlight, and first off, every adult, the wife, the mother, the big kids in the house, I would get out there at these two fields with flashlights and try to find them. Mm-hmm. Don't you think so?
Oh yeah, and I mean, I know that they're adoptive parents or foster parents, but people that really care for children and love children, they wouldn't even want to leave that house, so they try to find them children. It's just the way I think.
Somebody said, "Wow, Tony, your hair does shine."
That's funny. Yeah, I was let my beard grow out too. I could get a job at the North Pole, but I hadn't got the weight that,
There you go.
My brother here to my left of the screen here.
All right. Well,
we could swap out. We could get a red Dodge Durango and put Santa on the back. And
yeah, there you go. Let's see here. Any more questions? We panic over 2 or 3 2-year-old babies, if you are adopted, if you have true concern. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you about adoption from our experience. My kids are both adopted, and Tony can just testify to this because he said known me a long time. When we first moved down there, my kids were small, and he saw them grow up.
Both
But-
very, very good Christian children.
But I say this, they're my kids. They're as good as blood to me. They are my blood. I've shed a lot of blood with my kids and for my kids, and I worked and did everything. I considered them closer than blood. We chose to adopt, and I never received a dime for adopting. We actually paid to adopt, and I would do it all again. But I'm just these people, if they're involved in a double, you got to understand now, if they're dead, double homicide, you're talking about life in prison. Even in California, it doesn't have the death. I don't know if California death penalty or not, but you're talking about forever in prison, forever. Or they need to be anyway. What's the difference between kids, adopted kids, and our blood kids? There's no difference. Not if you're. I don't consider them there any difference between an adopted kid or some kid coming
Which
from.
is what we were, which is what I was
That's what
trying
we're
to say a
talking
while
about.
ago. Yeah, that's what I was trying to say a while ago. I mean, I would think this: anybody that doesn't have a cold heart and they don't have intentions of being a quote bad actor or someone that is doesn't really love people and this, that, and the other kind of thing, cuckoo heads, if you follow me, then anybody and everybody that has the proper rearing from the day they're born till now, and they care for their fellow man, other people will take care and would do anything to save a child's life or help a child.
And somebody said, let me say one thing, Tony. Somebody said here, what's the difference from blood or blood? I would give my life for my kids.
Right.
You understand? I would absolutely give my life for them. So there's no difference, none. Okay. Somebody said, I found it odd how biological family showed up at the house the night the boys were reported missing. Well, I don't know if they would, texts were involved or phone calls were involved or what. I don't know. We don't know.
Yeah.
That is odd, though.
That is odd.
Let's see.
I'm trying to look and read everything that I'm seeing here, but it's when I start reading the sentence, it jumps.
Yeah, it is. But that is odd. At least it's odd about the press conference. They showed up at the time that the people called the press conference. Now that might have been just so they could be out there.
Mari Swift says parents are the people that raise you. Absolutely. But I would have to say when I was growing up, my parents raised me. My grandparents raised me. My aunts and uncles also raised me. I even had neighbors that raised me. And unfortunately, in today's society, it's not like it was when we were growing up. When we were growing up, everybody was a part of everybody else's life, and people tended to care more for people than what we see today. I'm not saying that people are not still caring for people either. I think that people are, for a lack of terms, we live in a society today that you're not supposed to stick your nose in other people's business kind of deal too. Or people don't want to get involved because they're afraid of being sued or whatever, or getting chastised if they are trying to do something or whatever. So I don't know. It's just different times than what we were when we were growing up. But again, saying that, I was raised by everybody in my neighborhood and everybody in my family, and in growing up, you learn to respect everybody.
Now we had two questions here. One said, "Is this just a recovery, a body recovery, or do the photographs show look old, dated?" No, this is not a pure body recovery now because they can't prove there's been a death, and the pictures look that way because they're in the desert community. It is kind of drab. The housing looks like it's kind of even maybe a semi rundown area, even where they were living. California, living in California, they'll tell you the housing is expensive. I mean, very expensive. It doesn't matter where you live. Bakersfield is the place I was trying to think of a few minutes ago. They had lived at 2 or 3 houses in Bakersfield. Another question here was, the adoptive father told, and I think it was the natural grandmother or whatever, one story about what happened, and then they changed his mind to another story about what happened. So, there's some big red flags about what really happened to those kids.
Mm-hmm.
You said those pictures were the brothers pictured years ago. That's the only pictures that I could find of them.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
Well, I guess the biggest sad thing is these children went missing, first of all, and then it's here at Christmas time. Children all over the world, Christmas time has always been a very big pointed time in their lives. And then it goes back to the unit of the family. It's supposed to be a time for the family. So, yeah, it's just this whole thing seems really odd based on things you've told me that I didn't know, things that everybody has come on here this evening and pointed out. It does seem to be that there might be some sketchiness to all this. It's not just a typical, as they would say, this is maybe an abduction or it's a missing.
Yeah, and this Love Shack, Sarah said, and again, there were 2 fosters left in that home, and 2 foster kids, I think they're missing, or where the caseworker for those foster kids, and I don't know the answer to that. And I think they're talking about the pictures of the missing were outdated. But unfortunately, on the one, and I'll pull up the latest that I had, and I don't have any further. This is the latest picture I had, and I know they probably are older pictures, but I don't know if the foster or adopted parents have given or supplied any newer pictures than this, because you can tell because they raised the reward to $25,000 and hopefully that'll get it, because somebody, in my opinion, knows something about this case. But I think it's going to be back in Bakersfield, because I'm like others have said, there's just not enough evidence that they were ever at that house.
I can tell you what I've always hated, and I guess I can say it now since I'm retired. I've always hated that there has to be some sort of, quote, reward for any missing child. There should not be a pressing thing saying that there's a 50,000, 25, 10, 5. People shouldn't have to be paid to want to find a missing child or an abducted child or even people. I mean, that's just my opinion. And yeah, I can say it now because I'm retired.
Yeah, and Orrin said, "Look at the body language on the guy," and he was sitting like this. Let me go down a little bit. He was sitting like this with his arms like this the whole time, and
he was in the guarded mode.
Yeah, he was the whole time.
And
I heard
the hands under the armpits. I'm not going to tell all our secrets, but yeah.
He was definitely. And he was cool and calm, though, was almost too cool and calm. If I was out there, I would be saying, hey, guys, I need some help. I need some help. That's just like we always said about Mary Morphew.
Right.
He just doesn't express any concern about where his wife is or go out on the limb and say, hey, come help me. It's just, I really think, and I think what they're going to find out in the next little while is that these kids never were in California City. That whatever happened to them happened to them in Bakersfield. We're going to keep following this.
I'll have to. Now that you've told me about it, I'll try to look up some more stuff on it, and maybe we can revisit this again, or whenever you want to talk about whatever to call me, and I'll look at it. I'm retired, so it's all good.
Yeah. And also, Anthony is still working to get his channel up and running. There is just
the page. I do have the page.
Yeah, he does have a YouTube page, but there's currently no videos on it. And what is the name of your channel going to be?
The name of my channel is The Rabbit Hole.
His channel is The Rabbit Hole. So if you want to be early to subscribe, I'm actually the first subscriber on that channel, but you can go over to his YouTube page channel and subscribe to his channel. And
you have to type in that says the, and then there's a little space, and then rabbit, and then there's a space, and then hole.
Okay. Or you can go over and get your page, like go to your page, and should be a YouTube www.therabbithole.whatever, or go up to the top and print it.
There's the top. I can see if you.
Yeah, go to the web address and put it in the comments there. He is going to be covering a wide variety of topics.
You think?
I tried to get him to do one tonight.
I sent you the link in the private chat thing, is what it says.
Yeah,
so you can copy and paste for me.
Yeah, I will. What I will do, I don't see it here, but what I will do, if you will, I will put it in the description tonight. If you'll,
I sent it to you. If you click on, it's to private chat and comments. I put it in the private chat area, so you should be able to.
Okay, yeah, I got it. Okay, let's see here.
But if you want to go ahead and just click, maybe Miss Dina can click on it and put it in the chat. But my channel
Medina is actually Medina. A couple people asking where she went. She was having a difficulty with her computer tonight. I mean, it's really acting weird. And so she is in the room with Dakota, our son, over there talking tonight. I would do my best to put this in the narrative.
I like this one. It's Brianna says Illuminati exposed. Pizzagate SC is one. There was another channel called Down the Rabbit Hole, is what somebody else.
This is his link, and I will try to put it in also the comments down below in my comments, along with that other guy's link to his video. And he can talk about anything. There is one other one called The Rabbit Hole, but that's not him. Okay. Anthony's going to have his shining white hair on there. So you need to come over to his channel right now and subscribe to him tonight. And hopefully by the time I talk him into getting his first video up, he'll have several hundred subscribers. That would be great. That would be awesome. Well,
it's definitely going to be interesting.
Yeah. Okay. All right. All right. Well, guys, we love you, and we hope to see you on Tuesday. All done. Subscribe. You ought to have a few subscribers in there. We have, Tony, we have some of the best subscribers in the world. We really do.
Really? Well, I got to show you something. You want to see one of my Christmas presents?
Okay.
Tell me what you think of this. I have to stand back so you can see it. See my shirt?
Yeah, that's nice. That is really good.
And look at the back of this.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. It's too warm to wear it down where you live, though.
Oh no, it's 30-something degrees.
Okay, well, Maria, New Zealand. Wow. Welcome. Welcome. We will hope to cover, if you have some missing people down there that we would like, if you need covering anywhere in the world, we have a lot of great people here from New Zealand. We have from the UK, South Africa, all around the world, Canada, our friends from the North, Canada. And just send me an email at the missinglivestream@gmail.com. And also go over, if you would, and subscribe to my good friend, my brother by another mother. We got Australia. Awesome. Yes. Got one of my other good friends in Australia, Keith Edwards, is a minister there in Australia. Grew up with him. St. Louis. I know it's got to be cold in St. Louis tonight. Tell me where you're from. Everybody tell me where you're from. I'd like to give you a call out if you would, while I'm sitting here. Until we play our outro. I'm going to try to play a little outro of I'm looking at adopting as well. Listen, adoption is one of the greatest things that you can do in your life. Houston. Wow, Houston. I think Houston might be a little cool. Another Aussie. Awesome. Illinois. I know Illinois. Oklahoma transplant from Colorado. I've got a good friend living in Oklahoma City, or very close to Oklahoma City. He was my lieutenant. Pensacola.
Do you see that 15 degrees?
Pensacola, Idaho.
Burr.
That's right. Miami. Oh, that's nice. Miami's nice down there. Indiana. Yes. Indiana's probably got a little snow on the ground. Tampa. Warm. Where in Australia? Somebody asked. He's near Queensbury or something like that. I don't know. It's a big province, I think. I'll find out exactly what his church's name is and see if I can post that next time. Ohio. Wow. Go Bucks. Yeah. Roll Tide.
Mobile, Alabama.
Alabama. You're close to where we used to live. Let me see. Sydney. Wow. What is that? Invercargill?
I like that Roll Tide.
Bottom, that road. San Antonio, Texas. Wow, that's great. Chicago, Illinois. I know you cold up there. I've been to Chicago. It is cold.
The windy
South Island. Maria in the South Island. Is that Australia? Yes, Roll Tide.
Vancouver, Canada.
Who's been found? I don't know who we're talking about. Has been found. Human remains found under 24th Street Bridge. What city is that? What city? Does somebody can tell me that? My eyes are getting.
It says human remains found under 24th Street Bridge from red rum.
I don't know. No, New Zealand. Oh my God, not the boys. I hope not. Is the 24th Street Bridge, is that in city of California? Can you look that up, Tony, while we're sitting here on your Google?
Okay, just
if California City, just put 24th Street, California City, and see if it comes up. Where is that 24th Street Bridge? Does somebody say?
Bakersfield, California. Police found skeletal human remains beneath the 24th Street Bridge near Buck Owens Boulevard. The remains are consistent with those of a man, and were located in a transit in camp
Okay. Well,
crawl
I hate,
space under the
I hate
bridge.
anybody's been found. I hate anybody's been found, but praise God, it wasn't the boys. Green Point, Australia. Wow. That's right. It's we do praise the Lord. It's not the boys. Yes. Well, you're late, Liza, Liza, but Medina's not here tonight. You just have us two ugly old boys right here. I know. Speak for yourself, right? Yeah. All right. Well, it's been an hour and 32 minutes that I've been on here. So we are going to sign off and say we appreciate everyone from everywhere. We had averaged about 150 to 180 tonight on here. We hope you will go over and this is Tony's website again. I mean his YouTube page again, and subscribe, and he will have some video up soon. I'm trusting that he will. And I'm gonna talk
so many topics I want to start, but
I'm gonna get you started. We're gonna get you started. Oh yeah, he's gonna make it happen. Especially when we finalize the closing of our store in the middle of this month, and I'll have some nighttime here that we can do some. In fact, there's a great possibility that I will be in your area towards the 25th of this month. Very high possibility. And if that's the case, I will come over and I might even bring you some goodies to help you out. And
hey, the Nicole Sheen says you can be my first guest.
Yeah, I may do that. We might talk about something to really shock the conscience a little bit. Hey, we can talk about that UFO we saw that time.
Yeah.
That's something.
That's what I was actually thinking about talking about.
That's right. Me and Tony actually.
Everybody could hear your take on it.
Yes, me and Tony actually saw a UFO together.
And don't forget the black helicopters that come and got it.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, well, we love each and every one of you. Don't forget the prayer requests we had. Melinda's mother is still sick with COVID. Our cousin is doing not too good in the hospital with COVID also. And we ask you continue to pray for him. And also, yes, go to Tony's page and AV.WATCHMEN. He's off to Bakersfield. So he's apparently down in that area. So we want to give him some sub work, and I'm going to email him and tell him that I hope to send him some stuff. But we're going to hope to get Tony on the air pretty soon.
Sing to Me Soprano says, searching for the rabbit hole. Where's the link? If you look back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Hold on a minute. I'm going to put it in my, that's the link right here. But I'm also going to put it in my description of this video. That link will be in there so that anybody can go back and copy it there if you don't want to. See it if you don't see it here. Okay. And so we will see you.
Before you kick me off your channel, let me tell everybody, I hope everybody has a happy and blessed new year for you and your family.
And I also want to pray for our nation too, because it is in a messed up state right now. All right. So we will let you go here, Tony. I'm going to get you off here. Then I'm going to close out with a video. Okay. See you, buddy. Love you, brother.
Love you. Later.
All right. That was great. Let me see here. I'm going to attempt to play a video that me and Dina did and recorded up here. And there may be some, if there turns out to be a little sound in here, music in here, I'm going to have to cut it off because I'll get a copyright claim on it. But you can watch and see. If it starts to be music, I don't know. I may have to cut it off, or I might let it run, and I don't know.